There are 3 steps to cutting admin overhead without destroying your operations. Most companies do them in the wrong order, and it costs them more than the savings they were chasing. The instinct when overhead is too high is simple: cut people, reduce headcount, move fast. That instinct is expensive. I've watched 2 companies in the last year reverse the sequence, and both ended up spending more money fixing the fallout than they saved on the cuts. We run overhead diagnostics across service businesses doing 1 to 20 million. Every case study we have, every single one, confirms the same sequencing rule. I'm going to show you the 3 steps in the right order. 2 real companies that reverse them and what it cost, and the exact month-by-month timeline that makes overhead reduction stick. Here's the rule: automate first, train second, consolidate third, every single time. You step 1, automate. Before you touch a single role, implement the tools that will absorb the work. Accounting automation, project management, automated billing, HR onboarding, internal communications. Get the systems running and debugged before anyone's job depends on them. Step 2, train. Your remaining team needs to know the new systems cold. Not, here's a login, figure it out. Structured training, documented processes, a point person for each tool. This takes 3 to 4 weeks minimum. Rush it and the tools become shelfware. Step 3, consolidate. Now, and only now, you reduce headcount. By this point, the tools are running, the team is trained, and the work that used to require 5 people now requires 3. The transition is clean because the infrastructure was already in place when the people left. Skip step 1 or step 2 and you get chaos. The remaining staff doesn't know the systems, the work piles up, clients start feeling it, and you end up with hiring temps at a premium to dig yourself out of that hole. That's the framework. Now let me show you what happens when companies skip it, because this isn't theoretical. I've watched it happen twice. 8 grand. That's what the first mistake cost. The second one cost 12. Both were completely avoidable. So a $2 million consulting firm, 20 people, 5 admin, that's a 25% non-revenue ratio. They needed to cut G&A fast, so they went super aggressive. They cut the admin team from 5 to 2 in the same month they started implementing new systems. Here's what happened. The 2 remaining admin people were drowning. The automation wasn't even fully implemented. It was half-baked. Half the processes were still manual. Invoicing backed up, internal reporting stopped, client onboarding slowed all the way down. They had to bring in a temp for 6 weeks at $8,000 just to keep the lights on while the automation caught up. The savings were real. The $555,000 in cuts, it worked, but the sequencing created a crisis that cost money. It cost momentum and it cost trust with the team. If they'd spent 4 weeks getting the tools live before cutting, the temp never would have happened. The transition is smooth, same savings, 0 fallout. That was $8,000. It was annoying, but recoverable. The second company's version of this mistake, it was a lot worse because the tool implementation itself went sideways. $6 million IT service company, 9 admins on a team that size, that's way too heavy. They invested $75,000 in automation. ConnectWise, automated billing, ticketing system, it was a smart move, but they started cutting headcount before the implementation was done. The ConnectWise implementation was supposed to take 6 weeks. It took 14, and they'd already let 2 admin go by week 4. For 2 months, they were paying a contractor $12,000 to do work that the automation was supposed to handle, but it couldn't because it wasn't live yet. Same lesson, the automation ROI was excellent, $75,000 invested, $240,000 in eventual savings. It was a 3-to-1 return, but the sequencing mistake turned a clean transition into a 2-month scramble. Both companies got to the same place. Both would have gotten there faster and cheaper if they'd followed the sequence. Here's exactly how to run it. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, here's the timeline. Month 1, implement your automation stack. Identify the 3 to 5 back office processes consuming the most admin time. For most service businesses, that's invoicing, scheduling, basing reporting, HR onboarding, and internal communications. Get the tool live. Debug them. Run them alongside your existing team. Don't remove anyone yet. You need the the overlap to catch failure, and it is going to break. Month 2, train your team. Every person who's staying needs to be fluent in the new systems. Document every process, assign a point person for each tool, run the new and old systems in parallel for 2 weeks minimum. When your team can handle their workload using the new tool without the people you're about to cut, that's when you know training is done. Month 3, consolidate. Now you reduce the headcount. The roles you're cutting have already been absorbed by the tools and the trained team. The transition is clean because nobody is scrambling to figure out what to do. They already know it. Clients don't feel it. That's the most important thing here. The remaining team isn't drowning, and you're not hiring temps to clean up the mess. That's the sequence. 3 months and the savings from this process, the freed up cash compounds in a way most founders don't expect, because where that money goes next changes everything. The other thing is this stops us from snapping back into old processes, because at the first sign of trouble, the team is coming to you to try and, hey, let's go back. We need to rehire these people. We need to rehire these people. This stops that from happening. So automate before you consolidate every single time. Tools first, training second, headcount reduction third. Reverse any 2 of those steps and your operations collapse, your team burns out, and you end up paying to fix the mess you made. Next, I'm going to show you where the savings from G&A cuts actually go, because the answer isn't into profit. It's into one thing that makes all of this work twice as fast. And if you want us to run this diagnostic in your business, the link's in the description. We do 15 free spots a month. Have you tried cutting overhead and has it backfired? Tell me what happened in the comments.